Welcome back to Boring Reviews.
Boring land.
Oh, just kidding.
Blasphemer.
Hello, right. Boring Review Nation.
Kind of pointless.
We know all things. All right, welcome back to Boring Reviews. Nick here.
Jody there.
And we are reacting to another Geography Now video. She's very excited about it. It's Romania, which I know nothing about. Take it away, Romania experts.
I'm not an expert at all,
Oh.
but I'm a huge fan of several books that are about Romania. First thing is I Must Betray You. Fantastic.
I Must Betray You?
Yeah, but it's all about the
story.
Communism and the Romanian students who stood up against it in 1989. Totally recommend reading it. Also, Dracula. So, although he's fiction, he's based off of Vladimir.
He was from Transylvania.
Transylvania's in Romania. But he's all about Vladimir the Impaler. So it's all dating back to Romania. And though we all love a good, Bram Stoker, Dracula, the historian is so much better. And that continues on. So anyway, Romania, super awesome book-wise, at least. Never been there, but, it'd be really cool to visit and be like,
Is that where the Romans are from?
no.
I know. Okay. Holy cow. Do you even know geographically where it's from or where it's at? No. I do.
Greece.
No, Romania.
Oh. In the country Romania?
It's on the planet Earth.
Wait, Rome's in Italy, not Greece. Oh my gosh, I said Greece.
Romania.
Rome is in Italy. Okay.
I'm such a jerk. I had to do it.
Yeah.
So, throw her off her game. That's what I do. If you're excited for our reaction to Romania Geography Now, please do us a favor and
like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you're aware of our next upload of videos.
And if you like Geography Now reactions, we got a whole bunch here for you. Go and check them out on our channel.
And let us know what we need to check out next. I'm really pushing for Ireland or Scotland. I don't know.
It's not that I don't remember. It's just that I don't remember. So
Yep.
It's that's the reason why.
But Romania is going to be super cool. I'm super excited for Romania.
Absolutely. Here we go.
If any of you have ever had a family reunion, you all know what it's like to have a Romania show up. It's like...
Oh, they're dancing.
Yeah! Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're
she's really cute, like when they all like hidden
margaritas.
Look.
If you're Latin, you're part of the family.
It's time to learn geography now!
Hey everyone, I'm your host Barbs. No, I'm not gonna make any Dracula jokes, and do not call these people Slavs, and no, unless they actually are gypsy, do not call Romanians gypsies.
Yeah, we hate that, and they only make up like 3% of our population.
Yeah, and don't call us gypsy. We prefer Roma or Romani.
That's too close to Romanian. Just stick with gypsy. That's how this whole mess got started to begin with.
Well, Europeans gave us that title gypsy by mistaking us for Egyptians.
Then what do you want to be called?
Roma or Romani?
Ah! So yeah, anyway, let's look at the globe and see where Romania is on the map, shall we? Romania is unique because it's not only positioned in a weird spot, but it's culturally isolated. It's like the easternmost point of Latin influence. Quite a story, and it all starts in Europe. Romania is the 12th largest country in Europe, located at the crossroads between what is considered Central, Eastern, and Southern Europe. So it's hard to give it a single regional title, but for what it's worth, it borders 5 other countries and the Black Sea to the east. The nation is divided into 41 counties with their own city councils. However, to make things easier, the counties are kind of clustered into 8 development regions, which don't actually have any administrative power, but rather tie groups of counties together to facilitate economic activity. Culturally speaking, though, Romania is also kind of divided into 3 general historical regions: Moldavia, Wallachia, and the well-known Transylvania. Yes, Transylvania. We'll talk about that later. The capital, Bucharest, located in the south, acts as its own county, and of course has the highest population of any city. Here you can also find the largest international airport, Henry Coanda International. Otherwise, in the second largest city, Cluj-Napoca, in the northeast, you can find the second busiest airport, Avram Iancu International. And of course, in the third largest city, Timișoara, you can find the third busiest airport, Tiraien Voie International. Otherwise, anything shipping related usually comes in from the Black Sea, with the largest port, the port of Constanța, which is also the largest shipping port on the Black Sea. Keep in mind, just a skip away is Snake Island, that Romania and Ukraine had a small dispute over that finally got resolved in 2009. Ukraine won. Dang. Anywho, the country has a wide, extensive rail and road network that reaches every neighboring nation. Disputedly, notably the busiest road being the A2 and A3 roads, linking the Black Sea to Bucharest and further to Hungary, traversing the Carpathian Mountains.
Otherwise, Romania is unique because the country in itself didn't always look the way it did. There's Moldavia, not to be confused with Moldova, although Moldova does get its historical name from that area. There's also Wallachia, and the infamous Transylvania. That's right, Transylvania is in Romania.
But it should belong to Hungary.
We'll get to that later. Now, Romania is definitely not shy of making landmarks and sites of interest that stick out, and they take many aesthetic cues from multiple people groups. You'll see buildings that look French, buildings that look Slavic, some that look German, and some that just kind of do their own thing. For what it's worth, though, here are some of the top spots you guys, the Romanian geography, suggested we mention. The Palace of Parliament, the National Heroes Mausoleum, the Gates of Iron, Constanța Casino, the Silly Cemetery of Maramureș, this pole thing, Salina Turda, this ancient Dacian site, the King Decibel statue, the Tunnel of Love, this really cool bookstore, this ancient temple. Sibiu is like the most Transylvanian city you can get. Houses even have eyes on them. So many churches like these, including one that was built into a cliff and the tallest wooden church in the world. Brasov and Rashnov also have those cool citadels and churches. They even have those Hollywood signs on hills. There's so many castles, many of which are said to be haunted, but the most famous one probably being Bran Castle, or Dracula's castle. Yes, the famous Dracula Castle, which is not even mentioned as the home of Dracula in the book, and it was written by an Irish guy. And Vlad the Impaler was just an inspiration of Dracula. He wasn't actually Dracula, and he never even set foot in this castle.
Will you shut up? Don't give away our secret. This creepy gimmick makes us a lot of money.
By the way, guys, this is Jason. He taught me motion graphics and helped me launch the entire channel.
He's a vampire!
Oh, bad.
Oh, that's so
yeah,
cool.
lots of creepy haunted sites going
Jason
on.
did
And it doesn't stop at the buildings. They have entire forests that people are afraid to step into. Which brings us to... Romania is kind of like the land of legend and electricity. They have so many myths, yet they move forward with the age of energy. They were actually the first European country to have electric streetlights, and they even have a Prometheus statue holding a lightning bolt. For what it's worth, though,
The nation is about evenly divided by plains, hills, and mountains, with the mighty Carpathian Mountains, the third largest chain in Europe, dominating the
Heard of
north
that
and
before.
central parts.
So far,
Here you can
3
find the
things I've
highest
heard
peak,
so.
Mount Moldovino, in the hook of the southern Carpathians. From there, there's one little detached
past
cluster of mountains in the northeast, known as the Apuseni Mountains, which effectively makes the hills of Romania kind of look like Pac-Man. And in these Apuseni Mountains, you can find Scaricioara, which claims to be the largest underground glacier in the world. These mountains are essentially formed by the smaller Carpathian micro-fault line within the larger Eurasian tectonic plate. This is also what explains how, even though Romania is inland, it has small distinct areas of geothermal activity, such as the mud volcanoes of Berca and small hot springs in the west side of the country. Between these mountains and hills, you have the Transylvanian Plateau, where you can find the largest non-shared river fully within Romania, the Mureș River. However, on the east and south sides, you have the Moldavian and Wallachian plains, where the longest river shared with Bulgaria, the mighty Danube, flows into the Black Sea. Along the Black Sea coast, you get the flattest and incredibly beautiful Danube Delta area, the second largest delta in Europe after the Volga, and is considered the most well-preserved. This area in itself is a biosphere reserve and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is the largest continuous marshland in Europe and has over 1,600 plant species alone. This whole flat marshy area along the coast is also known as the Dobruja region. Here you can find what is considered the largest lake of Romania, known as Lake Razelm, which is actually a freshwater lagoon known as a liman. This lake actually used to be connected to the Black Sea as a salty lagoon, but in the 70s, a thin land barrier was built to keep the Black Sea out, which has now changed the ecological conditions drastically, making it a freshwater lake. Overall, if you zoom out, it's a relatively lush European country.
And with that, it's time for my triple shot espresso break. Noah usually comes in for this segment, but unfortunately he's still out visiting family. So how about we add some pumpkin
they all
spice
work
to this
out,
order,
Jesus.
shall we? Bibbidi bibbidi bop sagging.
Get it? Pumpkin. In the shortest way to summarize it, Romania started out as a shaky post-communist state that many people didn't know how to interact with. Essentially, joining the EU in 2007 really helped. It was like,
All right, so we just had a revolution. Communism is gone. We'd like to join your party. Here's our application.
everything seems to be in order, but you do have some sprucing up to do.
Oh, okay, just hear me out. We're going through legislative reforms. We're opening up a free market. And just to prove we're dedicated, we even put visa regimes on countries like Russia and Turkey.
You have to wait 14 years, you won't be Schengen, and you have to use your own currency.
Woohoo! I'll take it.
Hey, what the fuck, Romania? You totally ditched me back there. If he's in, I'm in. And that's how lots of money started flowing to Romania. Today, Romania is the largest electronics producer in Central and Eastern Europe. Due to the highly fertile land, Romania has lots of cheap and abundant produce. Often at the end of harvest season, you will see huge stacks of things like cabbage and watermelon. I love watermelon with lemon. So do you, Paul. I know you do.
Oh yeah.
They are one of the most underrated wine-producing countries in the world,
guy's
usually
muscles are
around
so
12th
distracting.
place in overall world
We have, like, the
production.
same shirt on,
Theoretically,
like,
Romania has the third
Haven't been
highest
looking.
capacity for
That's
geothermal
impossible.
energy on continental Europe after Greece and Italy. I said continental. You're an island and not even fully in Europe, okay? Otherwise, as a very lush and forested nation, Romania is home to numerous animal species like foxes, hares, bats. Remember good old Wojtek? Well, Romania has the largest population of brown bears in the world outside of Russia. And keeping up with the spooky theme, Romania has quite a few haunted or cursed natural sites. The two most famous ones probably being the Witch's Pond. Okay, that's a bad witch voice as well. Where scary things are said to happen, and even animals won't drink from it or go near it. Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
And
That's
Hoya.
telling.
You know we have a Ho rainforest where I'm from? Yeah, it's called the Ho rainforest. And Hoya Forest, labeled the most haunted forest in the world, where people have seen everything from monsters, ghosts, UFOs, and even a portal that leads to an alternate universe. I don't believe it. How can you have monsters and UFOs in the same place? So anyway, yeah. Food! Some top dishes that you guys suggested
Food.
include maize porridge, plum dumplings, these really cool ground meat rolls, placenta pastries, placenta, let's do placenta, tokitura stew, jellified meat platters, Oregon meatloaf, and the national dish sarmala, which was actually brought over from the Turks during the Ottoman times, but Romanians, mostly being Christian, stuff it with pork. So that's kind of a unique Romanian twist, I guess. And things get even more twisty once you learn about the people, which brings us to...
Thank you, Art.
You're welcome, Barbie. Send me home.
All right. Bob Saget.
Bob
The
Saget?
Romanians have a saying. They are a
His
Latin island
magical
in a
word that
Slavic
he
sea.
says.
If you look at the position of Romania on the map, literally everyone surrounding them is not like them. But we'll get into that later. First,
Romania has just about
Sounds like
19.5 million people and has seen a
one's like
16.2 population decrease since its peak in 1991
Yes,
at
I'd say
23 million.
23
The
million
majority of the
during
country, at about
1989.
88%,
Oh,
identifies as
absolutely. We all know about
Romanian
that.
to whatever degree, whether it be one or both parents being Romanian. After that, the second largest minority group would be the Hungarians, and more specifically, the Sike people, found mostly in the Transylvanian area. After that, the Roma, Romani, often called Gypsy, come in at third place at around 3%, and the rest are a bunch of other groups like Ukrainians, Germans, and general Europeans, and very few non-Europeans.
now, even though they are part of the EU, they are not part of the Eurozone, and they use their own currency, the Romanian leu. They use the type C and F plug outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road. Now, back to the identity thing. Even though Romanians hate being called Slavs, they have to kind of admit Slavic culture has kind of put a major dent in their upbringing and identity. I mean, somewhere around 15% of their language is Slavic-based. On top of that, like most Slavs, Romania and Moldova are the only Latin-based Orthodox predominant nations on Earth.
Huh, it's like we're backwards versions of each other.
How did all of this happen, though? Well, to summarize,
The area of what is now Romania was known in antiquity as Dacia or Dacia, inhabited by Dacians, which were basically cousins to the mysterious Thracian people. History doesn't record too much about
Thracian, I
them,
like
but they
that
were
name.
known for having
Thrace.
interesting customs, warfare techniques. Spartacus was a Thracian, and many of them were known for being redheads.
Whoa, ancient ginger warriors? That's pretty cool.
Then in like the 2nd century BC, the Romans came in and pretty much destroyed everything and made it their province, moved a ton of Romans in, and Romanized everything.
Oh, well,
This is essentially how the land of Romania became the easternmost point of Latin influence in Europe. Over time, Slavic tribes migrated south after the Roman Empire fell, but they avoided the Carpathian and Black Sea coast, which they knew were Latin strongholds. After gaining ground in the Balkans, this essentially isolated Romania from every other Latin-based area, which kind of explains how they became a distinct people group.
so that's basically how it all went down. Then we get to the Sike people, the second most populous minority. Yes, that's how you pronounce it, Sike. Basically cousins of the Hungarians. These people are steadfast in holding on to their culture, language, and claim over the Transylvanian region, known as Sike land. They even have their own flag. Today it's not such a big deal, but once every so often you might get a little bit of tension between the Romanians and the Sike. On top of that, Romania was a previous kingdom that ended in 1947, with King Michael I being the last king until he was forcibly abdicated by the Communist Party. Context, Hannah wanted to be the king of Romania in this skit.
Well, good to have you visit, Your Highness. But are you sure you don't want to seek asylum here?
No, thank you. I shall return. My people will listen to me and respect my title.
Very well. Safe travels.
Sign this paper saying you won't be king anymore. We'll kill you.
Well, I tried.
And today there are actually 3 people that can technically claim heir to the former monarch of Romania. But anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Now it's time for Random Hannah with culture stuff.
Now, with Romanian culture, it gets a little intense because they are saturated in myth and legend, especially with major life events like birth, marriage, and even death. Some of the traditions include things like, for a kid's first birthday, it is common to cut a lock of hair from the baby and keep it forever. Also, people might give offerings to the fate fairies by leaving gifts on the windowsill. Romanian weddings are also pretty extreme. It's common for the bride to get kidnapped by friends of the family for a silly ransom. During the kidnapping, the bride just kind of hangs out and drinks at a bar or something. I watched some YouTube videos about that. But then the girl's like happy at the end. It's weird, okay? And there are so many other small customs and festivals, like the Midsummer Festival, where women dress in white. The Kaloi Anul rain-making ritual performed by children after Easter or a hot day. Christmases are very important to them. In Romania, they go buck wild, making as much noise as possible, wearing costumes, sometimes having whips and carrying staffs to ward off evil spirits. There's also that festival where the dudes wear women's clothing and masks with loud bells and they parade to ward off disease and evil spirits. On St. Andrew's Day, it's common to eat garlic and spread garlic all over the house to ward off the
Evil spirits.
Yes, as well as the stigoi, which are like Romanian zombies. Superstitions, charms, and so on are heavily ingrained in their upbringing. In fact, they even have a 16% black magic income tax for anyone that works in the profession, such as fortune telling or witchcraft. Now, every region of Romania has their own folk costumes, which generally look pretty similar, but you'll notice they all kind of have like a Balkan Slavic influence style. Romania also has 4 Nobel Prize winners, and they are known for quite a few inventions such as insulin, car wheels that are positioned on the inside of a car's frame, and the fountain pen. And now to Keith's music segment, but actually guys, Keith is not here.
Love
He's
music.
in Germany. Will he make it on this episode of Geography Now? Stay
dare
tuned
he.
in the next 2 seconds to find out.
Yeah, no, Keith is still not here. He,
Oh, okay. Sorry I'm late. Did I miss anything?
Noah's back. No, actually, since Keith is not here, why don't you take the music segment?
You got it. Let's get this party started,
He's
shall
prepared.
we?
Okay.
Oh, yes. Here we go.
Yeah.
As an isolated Latin people group, surrounded mostly by Slavs, traditional music in Romania has always had a noticeable Eastern and Balkan European twang to it. Stringed instruments are probably the most preferred form of musical device, and even for percussion. This stringed instrument is commonly used. Some of the most common folk
is the
styles
trumpet?
include Doina, or the shepherd's longing song, and the Song of the Elders. Each region has kind of their own version of these styles. After World War II, they really started to dabble outside the folk and classic genres and started the Musica Ușoară Romanesca period, which means easy Romanian music. Georges Enescu being one of the prominent figures during this time, regarded as one of, if not the most important icon of Romanian musicians. After the fall of communism and opening up to the world, Romania dabbled even further with so many new brands and singers emerging into genres like rock, pop, house, and underground, and disputedly the most prevalent genre, electronic. Today there are about 10 major nationwide electronic music
fan.
festivals found all over Romania, like Noise, Untold, and the biggest one,
They're
the
really
Outlaws
into
Music and
electronic.
Arts Festival. Fun fact, you know that Numa Numa song? Yeah, that takes you back about 10 years, right? Well, that band called Ozone was actually a Moldovan band with one Romanian guy. But I mean, Moldova, Romania, they're like basically the same people.
Yes, you are.
know the
You
song
know
is
you
sung.
are.
Yes, you
You're
are.
basically one of us. Yes, you are.
Yeah, but
There is no but. You are one of us.
And there's lots of other Romanian musicians and bands, but we'll mention them later in the famous people section. Now, it's back to you, old barbs.
Here we go. All right, so in the quickest way I can summarize the history of Romania: Dacia, Roman Empire, tribal migration, Middle Ages, split into 3, Ottomans, Austro-Hungarians, Russians came in, World War I, country unites, things look good until boom, World War II, lose parts of what were formerly parts of the country, satellite USSR, Soviets banish royal family, really bad communist years, dictator deposed, democratic elections, European Union in 2007, and here we are today. Some famous people you guys, the Romanian geography suggested we mention in this episode include, full disclosure, I'm gonna probably mispronounce everything, Klaus Ioannis, Gica Hagi, Nadia Comaneci, Simona Halep,
She
Christian Mungiu,
escaped
Corneliu
Romania
Porumboiu,
during the
Ilina
Communist
Stase,
Party.
Ina, Alexandra Stan, Marius Moga, Sebastian Stan, that one was easy, jeez. Dustin Hoffman's
Wait, was
parents
that-
are from Romania,
Yeah,
Stan
they were
Lee's
soldiers.
parents, Sergiu Niculescu, Gopo, Amza and Oana Pelea, Dem Radulescu, Jean Constantin, Andrea Esca, Angela Georgiou. I am so sorry, Romanians. I can't. But anyway, a lot of Romanians and a lot of friends that the Romanians have made over the
crazy.
years. Let's find out who they are.
Yeah, I
So
wonder
many
if he's
things
like
to
actually
When it comes to
born there
friends,
or if
Romanians
his
have a
family's
saying,
from
their
there.
only
Right?
best friend is the Black Sea, because it never tried to invade them. In all seriousness though, recent changes in the past 3 centuries have drastically changed the way how they operate their diplomacy.
For one, after dropping communism and becoming a member of NATO and the EU,
Sorry.
of course relations with other EU members have grown since the 2000s, and although they are one of the less wealthier EU states, their GDP and quality of life has risen thanks to heavy investments and loans offered by the EU. This of course has strained relations with Russia. Romania was once part of the Warsaw Pact that essentially cooperated with the former Soviet Union until the early 90s when everything broke apart. Not only that, but the whole conflict with Transnistria in Moldova only heightened tensions between Romania and Russia over time. Serbia is kind of like the only neighbor they have that they are pretty cool with, as no major conflicts have ever arisen between the two. Romania also sides with Serbia's dispute in the whole Kosovo conflict. With Bulgaria, it's kind of like they suffer together as the lowest ranking EU states in terms of quality of infrastructure. They're not even allowed to be part of the Schengen or Eurozone yet. As Danube River and Black Sea neighbors with a shared history of dealing with Ottoman Empire years, they do as much as they can to keep each other afloat. For what it's worth though, Romania loves to meet up with their distant cousins, the Italians and Spanish. When they meet up, it's like something just clicks and they get each other, even though they have completely different clothing and customs. On top of that, they have a huge crush on France, but France is like hardcore friend zoning them. Before English became the second most commonly spoken language, French was actually way more popular. They copied lots of French-style architecture, they adopted French words, and they pretty much copy-pasted the French Constitution. When it comes to their best friends, though, almost every Romanian has told me it's not even a friend, it's not even family. Moldova is basically the same as Romania. Moldovans are essentially the closest people, their closest brothers and sisters. They basically speak the same language. Moldova just has a little bit more of a Russian influence. They love sharing a glass of wine, and no matter how detached they are from the rest of the Latin world, at least they have each other.
In conclusion, with Romania you do get the land of electricity and myths and legend, so much folklore, yet so many crazy things that have happened that made them into who they are. Stay tuned, Russia, the big guy, is coming up next.
The big guy. It looks like he is flexing his pectoral muscles the entire time.
I'm completely honest.
And that's not a bad thing, but
I was too busy looking at the pictures that they're showing.
I mean, yes, I look at the pictures too, but like they're just always like in the flex position, which is all these guys are in amazing shape. Like honestly, I mean, even random Hannah for crying out loud. But these guys are like, it's like they're working out at the gym. Like, hey, you want to start a YouTube channel about geography? Yeah, cool, let's do it. And we are the benefits of it, right?
Maybe that's what it is.
Because
Yeah.
we learn from it and we get to react to it. So it helps us create some content. But learned a lot about Romania there. That's one thing. The main reason why I love geography now is because I'm not a scholar in geography by any means. I spend most of my time sports and movies, for crying out loud. A little bit with family, right? And so I don't really know geography that well. Surprise, surprise, American that doesn't know geography. And so these videos are great because it teaches me so much about this, even like where they're at on a map, for crying out loud. And I learned a whole bunch of stuff from this video.
Yeah, I had to admit, most of what I know about these countries are either from books that I've read or from foreign films that I've watched.
Yeah.
So, because I do like to watch whatever's like on Netflix or Amazon, those foreign films. They're usually like little romances with our daughter. But still, you get, some insight into their life. But no, it was, I Must Betray You taught me a lot. To the point that I've read it, or first chapter Friday for my class last year and this year. But it's a really good book, and it's really sad when you think about it, because as a country, we kind of left them hanging. I mean, we believe their communist leader that, all was dandy and they were doing great, but I don't think our leaders necessarily believed it, as rather than like, but you don't know, you know what I mean? Like, don't tell me I don't know, kind of thing. But it seems like they've come such a long way in 30 years, such a short time, because at least like what you hear about is like they were completely impoverished, like all their food, all their land, like everything was just ruined and destroyed. They were starving, they had nothing, while their communist leader was just in the riches, loving life. But it seems like they've come a long ways to having this wonderful land that's full of all that produce. And the fact that produce is cheap there, produce is so expensive for us.
Yeah, well,
So,
I mean,
it's
if you
nice
make it
that-
yourself, then that really...
Yeah, it's right
we
there.
export so many things for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Import so many things for crying out loud. Yeah, I mean, it's. I'm glad you know a lot about it. I don't, and it lines up with what they said, like 1993, they joined the EU or whatever. So that was, almost 30 years ago. Not exactly, but close to it. So it makes a lot of sense. It's always great where you have countries that can bounce back, and talk about influence. We're way over here on this side of the world, and you have some influence from books or this or that. That's pretty cool. Way to go, Romania. Let us know what you think about our reaction to this geography now. Let us know what the video missed, if you know a lot about Romania, or if you're from Romania. What's happening? How are you doing? Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time.
Goodbye.